Good morning, guys. Hey, good morning. Good morning. That was a great move, right? Hey, good morning, Ricardo, Tony. What's up, man? Hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Beautiful weather, man. So, All right, so let's take a look at this. Good morning, man. What's up, Vlad? I want to go on the monthly time frame. I want to look into everything. Okay, like everything. Counting days to end of contract. Yeah. Okay, so this is the current monthly candle. Okay. And it just started like 12 days ago. Oh, was your birthday? It was great. It was perfect, man. It was great. That was great. But, like at some point, I believe, birthday, like when you're, a little kid, they're great, and everything. But when you're become a little bit older, it's kind of like, a little bit more regular, that's fine. It's just a number, right? So, all right, let's start with the full breakdown of this little thing right there that we have on NQ. And I'll potentially do ES2 after and maybe gold. Okay, so, I think that'd be great. Okay, so if we look at the monthly candle, we see that the order flow on the monthly, if you look at the table that we have on the new FX4 model, it's like it's bullish for like at least, 5 months. So 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 month, and fifth month. That's this month, right? So like it's hard to deny, right? These things are hard to deny. You cannot basically fight against that if there's no reason to do it. So I would align my trade as a bullet buyers if I can on a lower time frame. Just basically, it doesn't mean there's gonna be never any little retracement on that monthly candle, but it happened because like you see right here, like there's 100% price going down over there, just because we have a little wicks on the top. But overall, the general direction of the whole thing, if you look at these three time frame over there, um, the monthly, weekly, daily, the order flow is bullish, right? So that's not complicated to understand. Um, so just that, right? If we look at the current monthly high relative to that previous monthly high, is we have low resistance overall, right? Same thing on the bottom, but I really like the fact that the price opened right there on August 1. It dropped lower, reached for below that opening price on that previous month, and actually able to flip it towards that area here. So is this high is going to be a target soon? I mean, maybe, right? Maybe, right? If we look at the amount of point necessary to reach that, it's like basically 22 handle. So like, yeah, we're pretty close, right? We're pretty close. That's gonna be also in high all-time high once again, right? Once again, and we're gonna trade outside the data. So it is what it is, right? All right. So that being said, we're gonna look. I think today is this basically this high I have to look into, but um, so let's jump on the weekly time frame so we can basically you know, elaborate a little bit more that view right there. Okay. And if you have any question, guys, like, please, right? Don't wait. Just ask it. I'll look into. Don't worry. All right. So this is the previous monthly high right there that we've talked about. This was the distribution of the previous month. It happened in the last week of the month, first week of the month. Basically, a large accumulation, right? Basically, buying this bearish candle, right? When we passed through that opening price right there on the bearish candle, that changed the state of delivery on the weekly time frame, and that weekly time frame basically closed right there. It sounds great. All right, cool. Thank you. I changed my audio interface, so maybe it sounds better. I don't know. Just I'm not sure. But yeah, like when we basically close right there is basically we change the state of delivery on the weekly time frame, aligning with the rest, right? And this is this week so far. Very small week so far. If you look into, I mean, it looks pretty similar to this week right there. This one or two, like in term of range, right? We're still in summer, right? So we gotta keep that in mind. This is basically the first week of the month of July. So if you look at this week right there, it kind of like matched the same kind of cycle. But it is what it is, right? So we're gonna look into the lower time frame. This is just if we could potentially reach for that previous monthly high. As I said before, is we mark that monthly that monthly high, which is also the weekly high, but and we mark it with the previous monthly high, and overall we get like that low resistance condition. Okay, so let's jump on the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, we have the daily open right there. Right, we got two candles side by side. Uh, it stays low resistance on the bottom. I would call this a low, relative equal low, to be honest. But still, it doesn't really, affect right now the current delivery. Um, this is a current daily high. And right now, I'm not able to tell you the right time because I'm on the daily time frame. But when I'll jump into the lower time frame, boom, it's gonna basically, tell us the whole thing. So on the daily, right, today is actually bullish, easy to spot on. I jump on the 1 hour time frame. You see on how I'm skipping the 4 hour. Because it's an IQ test, I told you. Uh look at this, right? Look at this, right? Yeah, the high of the day has been formed at 8 p.m. 8 a.m. Sorry, and the low of the day has been formed at 1 a.m. So this is the low of the day right there, 1 a.m. We clearly see that these two candles that are side by side right there, right? That's a high resistance right there. It's high resistance. HR CPT right there, and it will also reject the 6 p.m. opening price as reaching for these low resistance over there. We actually did reach for positive 1.5 deviation, reaching for previous daily high too, and that delivery happened on this 1 hour right there, not 9 to 8 right there. This is considered high resistance on that side, but it also take that high, so that's a single high that's just been purged. That's fine. Now, what are we doing with that, right? We have this potential target on the monthly time frame. It's a clear, very nice draw. Everything below 9 a.m. has been bought so far, right? It looks like 50% of that. candle. If I'm applying a fib on that just for the fun. Yeah, we actually did reach the fair value OT discount on that previous 1 hour range. Looks great. Yeah, so well, it's gonna be a little bit hard to catch at this point in time because it's a little bit expensive, not gonna lie, relative to everything, right? If we look at the framework on its own, it's pretty expensive so far. It's gonna be hard to catch. I'm telling you right now. Like I would have be a buyer potentially in this area right there, but so far right there, like well, I mean, we'll see, right? But a little bit expensive, not gonna lie. Is that like another retracement? It might be our play right there. Let me see. 15-minute. Okay. Jumping into 15-minute. If we look what happened during the day so far, right? Small distribution, reaccumulation for the high. There's a bullish fair value up right there, responded pretty nicely, right? Everything that's been in the discount of that fair value has been bought. Accumulation higher, high resistance UPT redistribution, reaccumulation, a little bit of consolidation overall. Was reaching for some of the buy side on that sell side of the curve right there. Redistribute for the low of the day right here, as everything right here is sell side. Reaccumulate for buy side, creating relative equal high. Got pre-market open right there from 5 to 7. That's 10 right here. Sell side's been pierced at Judas swing, and then basically the news get out at 8:30. CPI, massive accumulation at 8:30. Look, not even one single little pixel behind the candle. Okay. Uh, that also mean that price is extremely imbalanced right now. So I would like to keep that in mind. The only problem is like everybody wants to short this thing because they see this as, oh man, this is the best play ever, right? Which in reality, maybe not, right? Because if everybody have the same idea, like these highs gonna be a little bit heavy, right? And if these highs are pretty heavy, they're actually matching with the order flow on the higher time frame. That is what it is, right? Previous monthly high looks juicy before the rejection. Yeah, it looks pretty good. The only problem is the engage at this level right there. You know what I mean? It's like buying the top of whatever Bitcoin, maybe, you know? It's a little bit sketchy. Damn, we got only 12 people in here. That's great. That's great. Um, yeah, I don't really care, honestly, man, to be honest. Like, you know, if you guys are just not interested, that's fine. You know, I mean, I'm not talking to people right here because you guys aren't here, but you know that I don't care, right? Personally, it doesn't matter. I got a lot of weird stuff going on with the Discord and everything, so you know we'll see what's going on in the future. Hey, good morning, lady. Less people mean right place to be. I assume it is, right? I don't know where people are actually. Hey, good morning, man. I don't know where people are right now, but you know, I guess they're just in holidays or I don't know. I don't really know. It's all right. You know, does it like for me doesn't matter at all. Doesn't change anything. You know, if you skip like the school, you know, the school doesn't really care about you skipping the school. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. Summertime, yeah, I assume it is. Yeah, true. Maybe they are at the beach. Yeah, 100%. Hopefully they are, man. If they are at the beach, man, they're fucking smart, dude. You know, they're fucking smart. Let's look at these things, man. I mean, you know, I'm here because I'm still passionate about it. But if they're on the beach, man, they're very smart. Okay, going back for previous the equilibrium, they're looking for buy signal. Yeah, I mean, look, 100%, man. You take a loss on purpose and you see them mad, you know? They're like, man, fuck, dude, what I've done. Man, I told you before, you know, don't take these fucking trades. It's all right. Do you guys saw like the updates that we've done on the UFX4 model indicator? This thing right there, right? I think we're pretty solid right now. I think it's pretty solid. I think it's kind of like pretty on point. Like, man, this is more than perfect, not gonna lie. I don't know what you guys think, but I'm actually very happy about it. So, you know, very, very satisfied. Extremely satisfied actually. It says you don't have the permission. Did you actually just claim it? No, no, it's all right. It's all right. I know you're not screaming. Uh, because it might be just like your trading view has to be reset. Basically, you claim the tool, right? You make sure you have claimed the tool. So you look into notification on trading view and you see like, oh, okay, cool, it's there. From there, you're basically saving your layout. You're basically closing trading view or you reload the tab on the top of the whatever application. And then from there, you should have the permission. I think it's gonna work 100%. I'm very confident about it. So it's gonna work. Well, that low is pretty imbalanced. But we'll see what it is. I'm not interested to look at for anything at this point. I will see. We'll see if we can develop any something. Yeah, you can reset it. It's you know it's not very long, so it's gonna 100% work after that. But yeah, we've done like a lot of pretty cool thing. And when I say we've done, like the whole academy team, you know, that participate into the development of that in terms of you know IDs and improvement. Appreciate you, lady, for that kind of you know stuff that you actually bring to the table. And there's you know other people actually too that you know which you know can be natter to you know some of the people that actually you know hey this could be you know a little bit better than that or you know this is maybe wrong or you know like all these little things you know been improved over time and which make it like extremely valuable because like I said when this thing is done when it's basically the way that we like it I'm not changing it anymore right it's going to be like that forever. So that's basically the play out right there. And yeah, I coded it everything myself, so you know, it's a little bit of work. I've been working on that tool for like the last 2 months, easy, like easy last 2 months. Like just the alignment of everything, like all these inputs and it, like everything has been done manually. So like you know, like There's no AI on that really. Like, can you go over your question from yesterday with the standard deviation? I saw that last night. Can you go over your question from yesterday with the standard deviation? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Not because I'm kind of like not replacing. What do you mean by that? I mean, yeah, because I've done it collaborative because I don't want people. I mean, that tool has been designed for the academy, so I want people to use it. Like this tool is also gonna also be public and free, because that's a mandate that I have with myself. So it's gonna be there online on TradingView. You don't even need to put your email address, or people's gonna be able to use it. Oh, I understand what you mean. Yeah, she's talking about that. Yeah, 100%. Um, so what it means, you guys, like, what do you guys think about it? I want to understand your point too. Like, what do you guys understand? How would you classify this as, you know, how would you like, what's your viewpoint on that? I'm just curious because, we've been working together for a while now. I want to see if you guys have the ability to pitch an idea. Because I know what it means, and I'll tell you after. But just want to see if there's any of you that actually want to you know, uh, put an idea on the table and say like, all right, that maybe that, maybe high resistance price action, or that at some point one is going to get taken later in the day. So it's literally more simple than that, and I'm telling you right there. The deviation on its own, right? Remember where the range is closing, right? The accumulation range is closing. The accumulation range of the day is basically closing at 2 a.m. when the London kill zone open. Okay. When the London kill zone open, what it means, that's an I would consider that as like the real beginning of the day, right? Like where the action start really. Unless we have an extreme large Asia range, which can happen sometime. I promise you, it happens sometime. Sometime these large Asian range, and like personally, when I see a large Asia range, I'm not really trading the next day because I know, it's kind of like if you're dividing your day, and you're understanding. All right, that section of price action right there, that's been extremely volatile, and it expand, let's say, right? So what it come after an expansion, right? So you have to ask your question about that. Most of the time, like the answer is in a consolidation, right? It's going to be consolidating for the next session. So what's the objective, or what's the utilities of that deviation tool? Which is pretty cool now because it only show, right, basically 0.5 at the beginning. So that gives you a reference point to see where price could potentially reach first. Okay, these are simple. It's basically the initial price, deviation that we have 0.5, which is basically just half deviation of the accumulation rate. So that's also symmetrical swing from half of the accumulation range on the upper side, same thing on the downside. So sell side distribution, buy side accumulation. Well, that law has been taken now. Okay, so on the other end, what's the deviation are helpful for? And if you take that as a note, that would be great. But I mean, I would actually take note of that personally. But that actually measure the magnitude of price deviation. So that mean like, you know, if you have any type of order block and price reach for a specific deviation, you know that, you know, price might be imbalanced at some point, as we have right now. So these are just basically a way to measure, like if there's no, like, look, if I cannot really replay that right now, but if there's none of this price action right there, right, if there's nothing of that, and that was a news, so like it doesn't count really, but it still count, but it's not interesting as much as if price is naturally behaving, right? Because this is a manual intervention. I'm not trading a manual intervention, right? I'm telling you right now, these are not standard delivery, so they're manually intervention. Like somebody pressed the fucking button there, right? So I don't want to be part of that because, you know, that's not the way I understand the price action. And I know it can, you know, I've done these things, you know, I've traded these things sometime and everything, but as a disciplined trader, I don't engage on that because these things are not predictable, right? They're not, like, they're not specifically the stuff I like because it just makes sense, right? Manual intervention, you try to avoid that at all costs, and it's just my honest opinion, right? So, but you see, like, these deviation was there way before, way before that move exploded here. Okay, so that reference point, so these deviation are useful for that because now you know, all right, like now we reach for one full standard deviation of the accumulation range of the day. Like, so like if I take that accumulation range right there, right, as a box, and maybe not that color. Wait, what color it is? Like it's a gray one? Okay, I'll use a gray one too, just for the explanation. So if we take this, right, and we actually stack it on top right there, that give you the same kind of like accumulation right there, but in term of magnitude of an expansion. So like we measured that and understand, all right, like now we're one full standard deviation of the accumulation range and actually even reach for another alpha right there. And the idea of going by 0.5 incrementation, right? The way that we're using it, like 0.5, 1, 1.5, 2, right? It could be whatever, right? It could be whatever, but I like the 0.5 because it gives me a pretty good like increment in between. But the overall idea of that is like to be able to eyeball, right? So like if you reach right there the daily high at 8:30 and it's in between the 2 and 1.5, right? What do you get? So you get like a half deviation in between that. So you can basically measure. I could potentially in the future add on the tooltip of the daily high, the daily low, uh the exact deviation that we are right now in term of like exact one. So yeah, that might be an idea. I'm gonna take a note on that one sec. So we want to have potential deviation price exactly perfect to the tooltip. All right. So, but you understand the point now? Like this deviation stuff. That's basically measuring the magnitude of price moving up and down. But if you don't have these, like, what are you gonna rely on? Like price action, which is fine. That's your priority. Right? You want to rely on price action first, and then also deviation. So, if we go back to the original question, why yesterday it stays inside the 0.5 on a Monday, right? What do you guys think about that? If I re-ask the question as I just explained a little bit, it's the reason behind these deviation. What will be the reason why it stays inside 0.5? You guys are thinking. I like that. Accumulation, yeah, that's pretty much what it is, right? And there we go. Because Monday is more likely going to be an accumulation day so far. But engineering liquidity, yeah, too, also, yeah. But it specifically mean that price is not volatile, it's not really moving. Just that itself is very useful. Because you see, all right, there's no deviation hit today. What the hell? Like, I mean, the price is not moving. So that perception of when you look at the whole thing and you're like, oh, we're still inside the range right there. So like we're still inside these deviation. Like it means like price is not even able to reach for alpha deviation of the accumulation range. So what does that mean really? It means that the New York session or the London session didn't really provide any magnitude, right? You guys understand that? So I would see that as a very weak price delivery in general. No, I would see that as a turtle, in terms of speed, like relative to a rabbit that moved quickly and reached for a lot of deviation. I would see that as like, man, this thing is dead, and it's not dead, but it's basically very slow, right? So that itself, what's gonna tell you? It's gonna tell you that if you have a trade to take that day, you must have like a very low hanging fruit stuff. Right? That makes sense. You do get my point a little bit. It's hard to explain because these things are not common, right? But do you get my point? Is that more clear? It's like when you drive in your car, right? You have that speedometer there that show you the speed you go, right? So how do you gonna be able to see the speed of the price other than just using projection or deviation? Okay. Hopefully that make it clear. That's a great analogy, in my opinion. And deviation are been plot much before then price reach them. So everything is static, everything is clear and clean. Right. So anyways, in my opinion, that's more than simple to understand. Just it's hard to explain sometimes, but you get it, right? We have an imbalance right there in the midpoint of the current daily range and the previous daily range right there. It's in between that high and this low right here. As I call it, right? As I call it, right? You can see right here. This is the feature that we've been working on Sunday. Uh, I don't know if it's clear. I don't know if I need to explain so much what it is. Do you guys understand that point or that stuff right there? That little percentage that move right here in the equilibrium. Like if you don't understand that, I can explain. Right. Like we're at zero right now. So this is the actual daily equilibrium. That's the real actual equilibrium of the day right here. So the idea is basically look, that daily high right here is 100%. That low of the day is 100% negative. Okay, it's a 100% negative. So where is price right now relative to that daily low, and where is price relative to that daily high? As it is right now, it's in the midpoint in between the daily high and the daily low. It's literally in the middle. So what it means that price is currently balanced, right? That's simple, right? And as I said, there was like an imbalance right there, and it's been filled as I was speaking. So, you know. Also, these deviation has different stuff I'll go back into, but I'm going to show you after. And also, like, if you see the background of that percentage right there, if it's green right here, like this, it's because it's in the discount area of the day, basically. So if you take that daily high, like I can apply a fib on it so you see what I mean by that. If I apply a fib on the daily high and the daily low, right? You see 50% of the day is 0% on that value right there. Okay? So as we are right now, we are into the discount area in between 50 and 100%, right? And we have a minus 17% relative to the low. So that low right there is a minus 100%. And if the low or the high of the day has been taken again after, like that equilibrium or that midpoint 50% has been recalibrated automatically. It's not, it's been recalculated basically. So you get that? And then yeah, there's a lot of things we can do with that. I want to talk about that more, maybe not today, but there's more stuff you can do with it. All right, so these deviation, okay, like this is a gem if you don't understand that. Like hopefully you are. I'm gonna be showing you some cool stuff about the deviation on his own. And that's a very unique perspective. I never saw that before. Like nobody ever talked about it before. I'm actually talking about it for the first time. So these deviation, right? If price is reaching for one standard deviation and price is trading lower than the deviation, like the original version of the tool was basically plus one deviation and it was stopping extending right there. And I've remake that feature to extend the line towards the current price. So like they're just going through the whole thing like a they're going through candle, like they're literally cutting through the body. They don't really care about what's going on here. They're like invisible. They're just going through the whole thing. Okay. And the point I was talking about you know what you could do with that is we can utilize, okay, we can utilize, let's say plus 1.5, so that's a positive deviation of 1.5. You can utilize that value of deviation, which is basically this price right here, like 23,797.50. Okay. And you can imagine a body from a candle, and it will be like this right now. But you can imagine a body of a candle like an opening price, basically. Okay. So that's a little bit magic, isn't it? Because like if I go to 1 minute time frame now and I'm looking at the same perspective, I could see this as a bearish body because price is trading below that deviation of 1.5. So imagine a large body encapsulating all of these price action into one single body, but you don't really have any area where you can start your body. So you could use that 0.5 standard deviation as price trade inside of it, and see it as like a body decreasing on his own from that deviation. Okay, you guys got that? This is how I personally see it. Okay. So look, we can do the same thing with the 6 p.m. opening price, right? We have the 6 p.m. opening price, which is basically the daily open, right? Price start from here and it expand to reach for that high right here. Okay? The body on its own. Like if you're encapsulating all the price action, it give you that expansion body there. Okay? But from here, what we're doing, we're like, oh man, I don't have any reference point. Like if I turned off the deviation, let's be honest, right there. Are they just not turning off? Okay, they are. If I turn that off, like there's no reference point. You cannot really do what I just said, right? But if I turn that back, we can utilize that 1.5 deviation and just basically imagine it, a body there that unfold from that specific value. And, you know, same thing can be done right here, right? Same thing can be done right here, right? And all the rest can also be utilized the same way. We're just basically creating custom candles. So like it's a little bit crazy, but that's the way it is, right? Now that price trade lower than 6 p.m., right, we can reutilize the same way to see that and see that price is currently reaccumulating higher. Is that like, you guys understand my point, or just not clear, or? You got that? And you also use the daily open, the hourly open. So like that hourly open is always being plot, right? So it's part of the tool, like it's gonna be there always. Like so the hourly open is literally just the initial tick or the initial value of your hour. So it's very, very useful in my opinion. Like that 10 a.m. that just opened 17 minutes ago was right there at 23,650, 375. So the current 4 hour or the current 1 hour is bullish right now. So just from here. Like I'm gonna be re-explaining the reason why I like this framework so much, because it gives me a reference point to where prices currently is relative to everything. Okay, what I mean, what I mean by everything is I mean all of these things, right? If there's nothing on your chart, which also great, but like you see, there's nothing right there. So the fact that there is nothing, you don't really know where price. Like, do you know where price is right now? Is right there, yes, but where it is relative to everything, you don't know. Nobody know, right? So if you don't know where price is, how the fuck you're gonna be taking a position, right? Just keep that perspective in mind. Otherwise, like it's not very useful utilizing the framework. Like you don't really know where it is. So if I reactivate that now, and we have all of these stuff showing on the chart, like, you know where price is right now relative to everything. And over time, when that framework is applied on your chart, like on a daily basis, on a yearly basis, and on a yearly's basis, right? When you utilize this for years and years, you know, it kind of like become very good. Like it's very important. You know, if I remove my frameworks on my charts, like or tomorrow, there's no way I can see this for some reason. So I have to plot everything. Otherwise, I really don't know where price is. You know what I mean? Because the entry the mechanics that we're utilizing for the entries, it's all been, you know, released and done by ICT, like on its own. Like it's the PD array matrix. Like I trade the PD array matrix all the time, like from a discount arrays to a premium arrays, from a premium arrays to a discount array. You know, and I'm just dancing for that, but I have to put my framework to actually see where we can, you know, actually do stuff. You plot it on Top Step. Oh, that's fine. There's nothing wrong utilizing TradingView as your analysis platform and just executing position. I if you know, I'm not really utilizing any other platform than TradingView for my analysis. And it's just the way it is, right? So look, if we look at this, where is price right now, right? Price rise right now, going back for 6 p.m. open. We are above 10 p.m. open. We're above midnight open. We're above the previous day equilibrium. We did reject the accumulation range high as an inversion there. We are above the 1:30 p.m. from yesterday. And we're above the 9:30 open from today. Is that bullish? Enough. Okay, so if this is seen as bullish and price is moving up, where this current price could go relative to what we have right here in premium arrays. Okay, okay, simple as that. We have that 5-minute high right there. Okay, that's a buy side. It's a premium arrays. Where the last discount arrays, that current 5-minute low, that previous 5-minute low, we have an order block right there, 955 on a 5-minute. Okay, right there. So that is a valid order block right here because it respected pretty nicely. Like that bearish candle, we're trading above that. So that 5-minute high is where I'd like to go basically right now. And if we go back on a 1 minute, we can do the same thing. Right? And when that high is reached, right now you got to look back and find out where the price can go next. It's always going to be on the left side of your screen. That's why when we're going outside the data, like it means like all-time high. If you don't use deviation, you don't really know where price gonna go. Like there's nothing on the left side. You get that? There's a little bit of buy side imbalance right here, so that's a small retracement from that high, right? If we have a retracement, I'd like to use the last swing point over there, swing high, and it also could be the last swing low is this one right here. I'll use this one. Okay. I don't see any swing low there. Here, there's no swing low. There's a buy side imbalance here. So that could be used. Okay. I'm just showing you the possibilities, basically. Volume imbalance here. That's great. We have this high right here, right? This one. Another volume imbalance. Extend. Price closed pretty quickly here. So I want to see more data a little bit. Daily, this could stay open. But the daily, like, the chart are disgusting, man. Look at this candle bouncing around. This is funny, man. Look at this. Look at these wicks showing up before the price even reached for that. Looks like I'm utilizing one of the worst computer ever, right? And it's a good one. So you reach for the low here, going back inside the buy side imbalance. I like the reaction there. That 15-minute close in 5 minutes. If this 5 minute could go for that eye, right? I like the way we're buying everything below 50% of that swing low. The height's not perfect. I'll just recalibrate it a little bit. There you go. This wicks could be used as a rejection block perfectly. Okay, we're inside of it. Retake that low right here. Sell side distribution inside a buy side imbalance. I like what I see here. I'm not executing on that because that's not the setup I like, but we're actually just tape reading it. I mean, I like this setup, just the time is a little bit like not really what I'm doing right now. Few volume imbalance here, I like that. It's 15-second too, right? So like now we're utilizing these whole high to discount range. Like stub would be the break even now because, you know, we're very close in that 15-minute close. Another volume imbalance here. That's great. Can we reach for that 5-minute high right there? Remember that 5-minute high right here? Right. Yeah, this is great. It's a lot of movement right here. Okay. This wicks could be used as a rejection block too. There was this small buy side imbalance right here too. This one. I'll utilize the volume imbalance on top of that. And that 5-minute high right here should be delivered in the next 2 minutes. But, you know, we're just here to watch. 5 seconds. The high has been taken right here, but the real draw is right here, right? We're utilizing that high here. Small retracement. Are they gonna buy that? There's 1 minute left for that 15-minute to close. We'll extend this, realizing this. And now we're trading lower than that. Okay. Back to 50%. It's a great discount if this high is a target. Max suffering, right? Max pain. That high is very interesting because it's in balance. The high has been taken. So we actually close the 15-minute. That's the new 15-minute here. This target remained the same, right? Very hard, right? But it does what he has to do, man. Oh, retake that high. Very close from this. And there we go. Booking up. Okay, so that was the target basically. And a 5-minute high right here. It was great. Now he could do whatever he wants, right? Delivery is completed. Handshake is done. Okay, so from here, what are we doing with that? If you didn't close your trade right there, there's this relative equal low here. Okay, just keep that in mind. I'd like to see these low to be taken because they're liquidity right now. So other than that, if we want to go higher, let's go back on 5-minute and look at into something. This is the high that we've been targeting for. That's great. Other than that, we have a target very higher. But if I look into 4-minute, 4-minute, there's this high, still the same. 3 minutes is still the same. 2 minutes, still this high, a little bit lower than this one. And 1 minute, there's also the same high. So like for now, I don't see any buy side delivery because there's liquidity on the sell side. These right here are pretty smooth and they're also low resistance, but more generally speaking, sell side. Also keep in mind that the order flow right now is bullish, right? Change the set of delivery here in 15-second relative to that 15-second here. That high is pretty heavy too. Really like these low, man. Also encapsulate that low right here, like all of these. Just I would not short that, but would wait for these low to be taken as retargeting that high. Okay. If it just deliver higher, that's fine. But these low, it would be nice to be taken first and then move higher. We also have this order block right here. So, you know, liquidity, order block, great match. All of this. Sell side imbalance. If we trade above that sell side imbalance, we can utilize this inversion fair value gap. These are pretty smooth right there. There's some sort of consolidation too, by the way, here. Like, this is not. This is kind of like what you get at like 10 a.m., right? After 10:30, I mean. Price is trading above that imbalance right there. Relative equal high here. Sell side imbalance hit there. It's coming back for that. Nice. Now the problem, like if I wanted to take a short for these low, is like these high right here are extremely flat. I don't like it. Okay. So this would have been, you know, potentially just a break-even trade, just because it's too flat on the high. Like, do you want to be liquidity or what? You know, and like I said, I would not take a short on that because it's bullish, but still, I'd like to see these looping flush later on. I would go with 1-to-1. That's the best risk reward in my opinion. Think about like a 1-to-1. So you have one risk for one win, but your risk has to be a little bit lower, obviously. But 1-to-1 is great. Like if you have any type of confluences and you are going for 1-to-1, what it actually does is it basically like flipping a coin, but the confluence. You know, you're flipping a coin, right? Tail or face, right? Or tail or tail or face, but with a confluence. You're like, all right, like there's one that can be more successful than the other. And it also more logic to me to use 1-to-1 than 1-to-2. For the reason that, you know, you risk one, you can make one, in my opinion. This is my honest opinion. It's like 50-50, right? In general term. But that 50-50 is, with a confluence. Have a great day, man. Have a good day, man. Talk to you later. This is a reclaim as a bearish. You're ready yet? As we trade lower. As we trade higher, it's reclaim as an inversion. Yeah, sounds crazy, but as long as the winning percentage is high, right? I mean, it has to be more than 51%, you know. If your win rate is above 51%, that's fine, right? As long as it's above 50%. For me, risking $1 to make $2, it just doesn't make sense, And just my evidence is my honest opinion. It's like if you're trying to make 200%, like what the fuck, right? You risk $1 to make $2, like you're making 200%. Because if you risk $1 and you make $1, you make 100% of your dollar, right? If you do like 1 to 3, it's like we're trying to make 300% of your risk. Like it doesn't make sense. Just again, it's just my opinion, right? But for me, it doesn't make sense. Like even sometime, like my current win rate is 97%, right? That's kind of like a little bit elevated, but sometime I risk negative risk reward because just the percentage of risk reward on its own can influence the win rate a lot in terms of probability. You understand my point? Like, look, I'll give you another example, right? With this little thing right there. And this is something, I try to avoid usually because it's mathematics, but this is 1-to-1, okay? And this is not a signal, okay? I'm just putting it randomly. But if you risk $1 to make $1, what's the probability of that? It's 1-to-1, right? It's 50-50. You understand my point? Yeah, fuck these guys, man. They don't want you to win. Okay. What's the probability of this trade win by pure chance or pure luck or pure random whatever? Okay. Pure whatever. What's the chance at that? It's 50-50, right? Yeah, it's 50-50. So if you risk $1, you can make $1. Makes sense? Now, what are the probability this trade win if you risk $1 to try to make $2? Without any hedge, okay? I'm talking about just a random lucky guy. 30%. So, like, look, this is gonna be your own work, okay? What's the probability then this is a loss and this is a win? Just based on the risk reward on its own. Okay? Damn, I wanted the answer, man. No, but you know, that's the point. If you work for understanding that, you're gonna be unlocking more. Okay, because that's the way it is. 33%. I mean, yeah. Now, if you're doing something like this, let's say, right, a 0.5 risk reward, a large loss, you're risking $2 to make $1. What would be the probability of you winning the trade just by pure luck if your entry is literally right there? Okay. 66% of win rate just by pure luck, right? Not even like aligning anything, doing nothing, just pure gambling basically. Right? Okay. So that's basically what I mean. Okay. That's what I mean by 50-50 is great. It's good. It's good risk reward. Fuck these like 1 to 5 and 1 to stupid shit, you know. Specifically if you have a hedge or if you know that, you know, look, I'm trading this PDA right there, I'm doing this, and I'm aligning all these beautiful things together. And I know it can deliver, basically. So I'm telling you, right? Do you guys get my point, or like at some point it's mathematic in general term, but it's also, you know, like there's more than that, right? Oh, that's also been taken. That was funny. All right, this order block that we've talked about, right? Like this one. Okay, we've talked about that one, right? Um, it's a fallacy. I mean, it's because like I'm gonna be honest with you, right? Like the industry has been like that for a while. Like I have, you know, 9 years of experience now. So like at the beginning, uh, you know, you listen to these gurus online. It's like, you know, oh man, this risk reward has to be 1 to 3 minimum. And you're like, okay, when you win, that's fun, right? But when you lose, man, when you lose more than you win, right? Shit, this thing is going down, right? You're like, man, what the fuck? Not good. Oh, look at this order block. That was the order block that we've talked about, isn't it? Well. All right. Now we have these high. We have also that high because this high has been created a little bit after. And it's a little bit low resistance over there. So I would see this as a relative equal high. It's a bullish fair value gap right there that can be used as an invalidation for a bullish move. And we also can reclaim that inversion fair value gap as a bullish array right there, if we can. All right. I get your point in the beginning of the booster. You mentioned how important it is to make small wins at the beginning in order to gain the confidence. Yeah, man, exactly. Like, that's why I've been focusing so much on the booster 21 to tell you that all you need is basically one single 15-minute per day to make enough. Just you're not gonna pay a Lambo, right? With a 15-minute. I mean, you can, right? But but the idea is basically trusting yourself, like understand and also show your subconscious that you're ready to go the next step, you know. So I would start for sure with the least. Like everybody say like, oh, trust the process and so what is the process then? Like tell me more. Okay, tell me more. What is the process to you? Because nobody understands the process, but they always says trust the process. You know, trust the process. Okay, so if you want freedom, that's great. But what's the cost of the freedom for you, right? There's a cost always to everything, right? Everything. Every fucking thing has a cost. Everything. And it's not always money, right? There's a lot of costs, right? Like trading on it, like trading itself is not a. I mean, for sure you're gonna pay stuff if you, but if you lose, you're gonna take a loss, and it's gonna be, something that you actually pay. But the money doesn't disappear. Okay, I'm telling you right now, it's still in the market, so you can get it back if you want. But the most important value or the cost to it is basically time, because that everything takes time, right? Hey, good morning, man. Nothing is free. Yeah, if it's free, it's because it's not good. I mean, the FX4 model is gonna be free. I'm telling you, that's gonna be good. But we're got in the way. Oh, that's fine, man. That's fine. It's just Tuesday, dude. That's fine. Oh, look at this. We're inside the macro here. 1050 to 1110. Oh, there we go. Buy side taken. Both buy side taken in the first minute, literally. But yeah, like small wins would be the the play for sure. And one single trade per day, like in the best case scenario, I would, work with one trade per day maximum. Why? Because it's enough, man. you know, it's more than enough. We have this high now. So it's an imbalance on the top right there. There's an imbalance here. Um, and this is 15-second, I'm telling you. So yeah. I'll just put this red and I'll explain still what I mean by this stuff. Yeah, so 1 15-minute per day, right? It's great. And it's pretty short. So like you don't have to stay there for 6 hours, right? So you have time to actually improve yourself. But you gotta pick the right 15 minutes. So like I've been explaining what is a good candidate for that 15 minute in the Booster 21 program I've been putting out there, the 90 days. Like, so you have 90 days to actually, you know, find the value. But 1 15 minute can provide so much. Like, because it's like, It's like if you're converting 1 15 minute in a daily candle, like, but that daily candle is really quick, you know, and it's only one. So the same thing apply, right? Like these previous daily high, previous daily low, but on 15 minutes. It's the same thing, just different timing. Sit in front of the chart for about 2 hours max. Yeah, more than that, I would say it's abusive, right? You're basically burning the candle by both sides more than 2 hours. It's a little bit too much. So what's the first criteria or thing that you'd like to do first is basically showing up when it's time, right? There's specific what I mean by time, it's not specific time, but I mean it's pretty specific, but I would show when price is most likely gonna move, if that makes sense to you. So like these kill zones have been created for that. And thanks to ICT for that, you know. So I would use like if you know, wanted to expand a little bit on that. I would use the what time of the day you recommend when starting out to get one or two 15-minute candle? I mean, it depends, right? It depends. Like it has to be a setup on the 1 hour daily because you're aligning your 15-minute inside of that hour. Oh, go back to the bullish balance over there. So yeah, for sure, I would find a setup on the 1 hour. When I find the setup where that hour could deliver, right? There's two area that hour could deliver. So liquidity or inefficiency, it's more than sample, right? It's not thousand of criteria like everybody thinks it is. Like what is liquidity on the 1 hour for you, right? Like you gotta determine that on a piece of paper and understand what is liquidity. What's also is the inefficiency because price could deliver to both of them. So like a little that low is a little bit imbalanced too right there. It's great if it didn't reach for that, but also so yeah, I would pick like Vlad said, 1 or 2 hour, but I would work with an hour candle, not a 4 hour, but an hour. And I would find 1 15 minute that could deliver to where that hour should be going. So like basically external range of that hour. Like the 1 hour time frame is pretty slow, but it's pretty fast too. Okay. So just someone could actually execute on an hour if you want. Like it doesn't need to go in lower time frame if you don't like these little fluctuation of price. But I believe the precision comes from the lower time frame because otherwise you don't see it, right? You know what I mean by that. Like if you're not going on that 15 second, like let's say right now I'm doing, I would never been able to see all these details. But if I go back on an hour time frame, you see that 1 hour is bullish right now. And where the price could deliver is basically that high. Because every time it retraces inside the range, it's a retracement. And you look for another expansion following that potential buy side delivery. But in a lower time frame, you find where the price could go. So that sounds like some complicated stuff, but it's not that much. I mean, every 15 minute has 5 minutes, so you can utilize that importance for that 15 minute to deliver where you want that 15 minute to go. That's the idea, right? And the fact that it's only 5 minutes inside that 15 minute can be utilized for different factor. Like, like I've been explaining in the Booster 21, you have like swing low, swing high that can be formed in a 5 minute that can ultimately lead to an 15-minute expansion and, stuff like that. Makes sense, right? And journal everything, obviously. It's the most important point. Because if you don't journal anything, like I've said this weekend over in my Twitter account, uh, if you never journal anything, you don't really know where you are. Oh, new 11 a.m. So that's the new hourly open, right? So you get my point, right? It's like you must journal. It's the most important point. If you don't know how to journal, you need to learn how to journal, right? But what would be the best to put in your journal, if I can recap this quickly, is I would basically explain or write a letter to myself and say, look, today I've done pretty good. And if you don't even like take a trade, okay. Let's say right now I'm tape reading, okay, which that's what we've done like for the last, how many times we're live right now, for an hour 30 minutes. If I've been doing that for an hour 30 minutes, I could, I mean, I would, and I will, I'm gonna do it. I would journal. Oh, look at this. I would journal that as a good experience. Like, that's the idea, man. You're experiencing something when you show up. If you don't show up, you're not experiencing anything, right? But there you go. That was the buy side right there with the imbalance. Pretty good. Oh, look at this. Quick, quick. Man, everything I've said today has been happening perfectly, isn't it? It's great. So that 100% is a good experience. Like, you don't have to make money to basically understand that is a good experience. You know what I mean? Like, it can be journal as a good experience even, and it doesn't cost you anything. And these good experience, they stack. Okay, it stack over time. I'll give you another example. Like, right, you going for a surf in Hawaii. You go in Hawaii and you do surf over there, right? And you have so much good time, a lot of waves. It's fun. It's really fun, right? Uh, you didn't make money when you make that experience, right? And that was a fun experience too. Like, so automatically you can put that in your journal. And at the end of your life, you're gonna be looking at the whole journal. You're gonna be, man, that was great life. I've been doing a lot of good experience in this life, right? So the same kind of stuff applied to a smaller macros, which is not the life, but it's a journey on its own, and that's the process. That's what I call the process. And ideally, your journal has to be positive the best you can. So you're never bullshitting yourself. You're never self-sabotaging yourself. Like, never. Just never. Why would you do that? Right? Any type of negative experience just basically sinking down your progress. That's just the reality, right? And you can tweak that as much as you want. So even if you take a loss, right, and you're upset about it because you're like, man, fuck, that was such a good setup and it fell in my face like that. But I learned something, What did you learn of it? Some people, they take a loss, they close the chart, they don't even journal about it, and they just come back the next day. Like if nothing happened. Like if nothing happened. This is really bad. It's not good. Because 100%, if you're more disciplined, there's 100% something you did there that was useful for the progress, I'm calling it, the process or whatever. Like this is the way it is. And it's not lying to yourself to say like, look, man, I've taken a loss, but fuck, I learned so much about what I did wrong. And at the end of the day, that was not wrong. That was great. Right? So again, you can tweak that. Like the more good experience you get, even if they are negative perceived by the ego, the perception, or like whatever you can call it, they're not. They're good. Good stuff. And there's like the way, like, I don't know, man. I see so many people struggling with that. And I don't know why they don't understand still. They just don't. I think they just have a too big ego, man. you know, like like inside of you, there's just a little child that just try to learn something and just want to be better into something. It's like your little kid tried to do bicycle for the first time and it keep dropping. You're not gonna call it like a shit, You're not gonna say like, "Hey, little kid, you're shit with the bicycle, so I'm gonna remove it from you." Like just keep going, man. you know, I would just like, look, we're gonna put a plaster on that blood right there, and you're still gonna go, man. You never stop, because if you have the fear of doing something wrong, what had happened is just gonna be that. You get that? You're struggling? Yeah, everybody's struggling, I believe. I can sense these outside energy, and I can feel that most of people, they're just inside of them suffering so much for no reason at all. Like it's a process, it takes time. Look, I've been sitting in front of the chart for 9 years, man. At the beginning, I was like, burning all the bridges in front of me because I was basically just, doing stuff that would never be anything good. And at some point, I was like, look, even if I do something wrong, I can flip that into something good. And nobody's going to judge you because it's your journal. It's yours. So, like, nobody can say, look, you lie to yourself here. You said that you feel good, but you take a massive loss. Yeah, but I learned something. And the next day, I'm going to be better. And the next day, I'm going to be better. And the next day, I'm going to be even better. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. I would just, like I said in the journaling, I would keep it the most positive possible. Perception, yeah. How do you perceive your journey, right? And let's say you're journaling in a negative way, what it's going to create over time, it's just fear, man. You're not going to be able to execute anything anymore. You're going to be stuck right there. You cannot move. you're stuck there. You're fucked. You're stuck there. You burn a lot of money. Yeah, I would just, just use paper trade. It doesn't cost you anything. And you can get the same experience as much as if you trade with real money. And I promise you, like, the consequence of having a positive process and doing something without any cost, it's going to be the result of making money at some point. Because that's just the way it is, I personally could care less than making money because I have the skill, right? I have the skill. I have it. And everybody can get it. Everybody. Literally every single human on earth can have this skill. But most of people is just basically self-destructing themselves instead, which, the skill is priceless. Yeah, man. Remove all my money from my account and give me $1, I'll make it back. Okay? That's my mentality. That's my mindset. That's where I'm tuning. Remove it, everything. Literally everything. Take everything. Put me in the street with the phone and I'll just make it back. No worry, man. Because I have the skill. That's and that's not bragging or anything, like it takes time. Yes, it is, but it's so plus 99% right there. Yeah, there we go. New daily high, 11.10. As the macro close, right? So yeah, if I would start over from zero scratch without the skill or anything like that, with just basically being so positive about the process and trust the process, because if you don't trust it, that means you're not very confident at all. Like, I've changed my focus from making money to learn the chart. Yeah, man. Because when you learn it, the money's gonna be the result. It's the consequence. Like, you're getting paid by just being, correct, basically, or just being like respective about yourself, or just being respectful about yourself. Because the technical is the technical. When you know the technical, like, you have to work on the psyche stuff, Like, I'm giving you a piece of paper and a pen, right? And you must write a letter to yourself, the future yourself, or the future you are yourself. And nobody's going to judge you, because these journal or these notes are personal. They're for you only. Nobody can read that, they're inside a book that is closed. You can lock it if you want, or they can, whatever. It can be on your computer, but nobody has to be reading that. It's your own stuff. So if nobody can judge you, you can type whatever you want. And nobody's going to say, hey, man, you're a liar, dude. Because you took a massive loss that day and you still believe that you're the best. I'm still the best because I learned something, And I know it sounds creepy like this, but, like, I guess it could feel, I guess it could feel good for the ego to, like, blast yourself up, right? But what it does, it basically just, destroy your inner child dreams, you know. So like I've started playing guitar like 3 months ago, 4 months ago, right? And it's not easy, man. It's really like, bro, like these harmonic scales and all these crazy stuff, like it's not easy at all. It's I think it's harder than trading itself. What the fuck, right? But I have a journal for my guitar journey too, you know, and I do the same concept, same thing I'm doing with my trading. You know, like look today, you know, it was the guitar. Like even if I know physically the guitar didn't sound really good, I still been able to play some notes, you know, and I was great about it. I was happy about it. So I'm just basically journaling that, you know. When you go to bed, you know, all these things put them to work, you know. When you wake up the next day, you're like, all right, I'll pick the guitar again and doing the same thing. Every day, like whatever, 30 minutes a day, 15 minutes, an hour max, 2 hours maybe sometime. Pretty rare because these things basically destroy your fingers, right? But you know, it's the same thing everywhere, man. It's just literally the same thing. It's the same thing. And even like if you look on the employer side, employee side, or whatever, like somebody is like working to a place, whatever, like a restaurant. Let's say works at a restaurant, and or whatever, like it's working in a factory, right? And at the end of the day, you have some sort of reports to basically type on a piece of, and that's a smart idea from the boss, man. Is basically making your journal, your journey, and is gonna put some lines on the piece of paper that's gonna basically force you to only journal what is positive. And the next day, you're the best employee, even better. What he's doing is he's subconsciously programming that employee to be better, and you don't even know about that. You know, you're just basically doing your job, right? That's the job. Because if you didn't fill that piece of paper, nobody knows that you've been there that day, right? That's basically the idea. All right, two deviation there, right there. That's the previous monthly high right here. I'm just basically waiting for that, and then I'll close the stream. That was a great experience so far. And at some point, when look, there we go. It's been done, completed. There, bam, ciao. Um, yeah. So when you journal in a positive way, over time, what you're building is just basically a good, you know, perception of everything. You're understanding the process even more. You're like, man, I cannot quit anymore because look, I've done all these good stuff in the paper. Look, if I read all this journal from the scratch, from the beginning, I've done so many good work. How the fuck I can quit right now? I cannot. I'm stuck with the whole process now. You're inside the process. You're deep inside. Do you get my point or you don't? Hopefully you get, because it's pretty good stuff. I don't really think about what I'm gonna say. These are sincere stuff. You know, they just come out the way they come out. So yeah, you can ask here if you want. I can respond from my voice. Otherwise, you know, you can ask later on. Whatever you want. Look, right now, right in the academy, there's not a lot of active people. I could see that as like so negative and be like, fuck, I'm just gonna close that shit and you know, nobody's gonna get anything. And but instead I'm like, you know, look, I've done so many good stuff. So like why I would just basically, you know, punish myself. I'm not punishing myself. Fuck that. I'm just trusting the process. Like the academy is gonna take the time it's take And if people don't want to learn anything, that's fine. I don't care, man. If there's 3 people here, I'm just still gonna do whatever I'm doing. And if nobody in the academy is interested, I'll just go back to public. I'll just push it on YouTube, and people that actually learn stuff, they just gonna learn stuff. That's it. So, you know. And even recently, I don't know if you guys saw that, but on my birthday, I offered one of the best gift I could offer myself. I was like, I need to offer myself something for my birthday. And that was a tough decision, and I'm telling you right now, it's not an easy one. But if you go on my Twitter, you'll see that I don't follow everybody. I don't. I want to be. The only person I'm following is my mentor. That's it. And it's not an ego like move or anything like some people's gonna see that as a large ego move, or like they're gonna see like, oh man, this guy's like whatever, like it's like unfollowing me, like that for sure it's gonna be felt like that. But I'm gonna be honest with you, all these people I was following was not even supporting my IDs anyways. So what's the point of that? There's no point. But I'm also a lion, right? I'm born in August, so like I'm a lion, and I like to walk alone. So, and I believe that the journey of traders is not a group thing, really. Unless you have a really good group like we have, but some people didn't really understand that. That's fine. But yeah. And look, since I unfollow everybody, I don't know. If it felt liberating at some point, I feel like. And I'm not there to be in a community or whatever you call it. I don't need community, right? I'm good. I don't need anything. And like I said, people could perceive that as like, a bold move or whatever, but I personally feel bad. It's just the way it is, man. And also, like, I'll be honest with you, like some of the ID been sent out over there is just I don't agree with that. So, like whatever, right? I get that, people try to. What was your present? I basically unfollow everybody on Twitter. Like if you look at my Twitter account right now, like I can show you right now real quick. So the only person I'm following is basically ICT, because this guy, this guy, helped me so much, like nobody could ever do, right? So it deserved my following. That's it, you know, and nobody else. And it's not, but I'm still, look, just for transparency, right? I still have my following list right there, which if I click on that, what it actually does, it actually have everybody that I actually follow. So I can still interact with people if I want. I have the door open right there. But if I don't want to see anybody still, I'm just going back right there, or I'm just like not on Twitter anymore, really. Because nobody support what I'm doing anyway. So like, I post something good or whatever, like something helpful for them too, and they don't give a shit. All right, bye. And again, it's not an ego move. It's just the way it is, man. I just don't want to be
around anyone. You know, I like to be alone, man. So I'm a lion. I'm chasing myself. You know, the way that that was a good gift, right? Yeah, that was not an easy move because you know at some point I was like, oh, all these people's gonna perceive that decision. They're gonna be like, I don't know. They can feel weird, you know. And I just at some point I was like, do I care about me or I care about other people, you know? Like so I was like, I'll just like do whatever I have to do, man. Anyways, we reached the previous monthly high. That was the target that we've mentioned this morning at the start of the live stream, like almost 2 hours ago. We started the live stream around 9:40, 9:30. Like I think it was like 9:35 or something. We walk our way up here. I called that sell side being delivered right there. That order block, I also call this order block, perfect order block, right? It was great. That bullish imbalance right there has been triggered. Reclaim that inversion here to that deviation here. 11 a.m. open, reach for that right here, imbalance, sell side, buy side, buy side liquidity, sell side imbalance. So, right, so CB. That buy side here, and ultimately that previous monthly high, which is a value of 23.845, which is precise level here. Then, pretty much that. I think we're done. Tomorrow, gonna be back, or find out something tomorrow, maybe engage with it. Today, we just basically monitor and tape read what is going on, you know. That was the whole idea. And again, I said I'm not engaging on manual intervention like CPI. So if you did engage on that, well, you're lucky, man. Because this is luck. This is not standard delivery, right? This is a manual intervention. Somebody pressed the button where it has to press the button based on that result. And personally, I don't rely on luck for my trade. So it's the way it is. But if you make money on that, well, thank God, right? And after that, I could have take something here, but I feel comfortable just tape reading it. Gonna take a quick look at gold. Yeah, we can do that for sure. And you'll see like my perception immediately based on the framework. Oh well, buy program, isn't it? Let's not on 15 second. Let's go on 15 minute. A 15 minute on the daily FX4 model is the best you can have, really. Okay, so reach for 0.5 standard deviation. Going back 50% of that wicks, reaccumulating these high from these sell side imbalance right there. You see these candle right there? Now they're distributing lower below that 1:30 p.m. They're imbalanced on the sell side because there's not a lot of wicks on the top. You can see it market re-efficient that. The 945 rate for the low right there didn't reach for one. This is pretty good sign that the low of the day might be this one. As you can see right now, price 11 a.m. is currently delivering buy side for that relative equal high. We have the daily high standing around this 915, 348.7. Yeah, I can see a lot of low resistance and buy side liquidity here, potentially being taken the next 30 minutes. But very small day. If you look at this perspective here, it's extremely small day. There we go, it's done. Man, these things cannot be fake, right? I wish it was, but look at this. Flying. And I'm telling you, I'm not better than anybody. I'm just myself. I'm just the guy that actually, study the shit out of these things. Euro USD, let's take a look, man. Let's take a look. It was not going well last week. Oh, okay. I like what I saw right here. Damn, Euro USD is getting a little bit of peep. It's 15 minutes. Damn, this is beautiful. Look at this. -0.5 minus 0.5 deviation. We got the pre-market open right there, that red box. Sell side manipulation below this low, creating the low of the day right here. Massive manual intervention. That, bro, like this candle right there on this pair is an expensive one. Okay, it's it's a couple billion of dollar right there. It's not $5, right? It's a couple billions of dollar right there. That candle. I really like the repricing as a retracement internally, going back for that midnight open plus the 50% of that accumulation range right there. Also tapping that premium arrays, which become a discount arrays right here. Like on the lower time frame, we have these two candle right here, side by side with a condition on the bottom, high resistance. 9:30 open here. And yeah, that previous daily high was a pretty good target. It's been completed already. And it actually reached 3.5 deviation of the accumulation range of the day. And that's massive. And also look at the small manipulation that we got at 1 a.m. Did you notice too that the accumulation range on the FX4 model is 1 a.m. instead of 2 a.m.? Oh, that's great, right? Also something I never mentioned, but now it's there. And the order flow on the all higher time frame is extremely bullish on these three time frame: monthly, weekly, daily. Looks really good on Euro USD, not gonna lie. Looks really good. From a weekly perspective, let me see real quick. Oh, there we go. On the weekly perspective, when I say weekly, I'm utilizing the 1 hour time frame. So look at this. Low resistance on these high, relative equal high. Deliver perfectly to that. So Friday high and Monday high combined together, right? And now we have the previous Thursday high potentially that could be delivered till the end of the week at 169,885. It's a little bit premium, but it looks like it wants to go for that. Pretty good. Like they're buying all the discount for previous week right there below previous week EQ. Yeah, it looks really good on Euro USD, man. About the Academy, Dave, I have been looking at your video for the last 2 years. I did like everything, and the way you explain are just magic. I'm just being myself, man. You know, I could play a character like everybody else, but I'm not. I'm just myself. So, And I'm explaining my journey. So if you get inspired by that, if you like what I'm doing, like that's great. Quick overview on the Enwagonen dock right there. This was great. This was great too. Nice and walk there. Yeah. Looks great. Look at this. On the 1 hour, it's pretty straight, right? I mean, I'm glad that you like my stuff, right? That's great. And what else I could say for today? I don't think I have anything to add. I think we're gonna close this right now. So you guys are more than welcome to be there tomorrow if you like. If you don't like, whatever. You're doing whatever you like. I'm not gonna twist the arm at anybody too, right? I want you guys to understand that, it's a personal decision, you know. Is the link for the FX4 model indicators in the Discord? Yes, it's in the Discord. Yeah, there's a thread section I've done with the. It's not a link. You can claim it on the what. But this week I'm gonna start. I think on Thursday potentially I'm gonna start running the beta test because this is the alpha version, which means it's the pre-beta. It's like the little version that you have before the beta to make sure that there's no major problem. From there, you have some sort of like problem fixing that we've done so far. We did change the whole everything there. Table, you can change your name. You can, it says FX4 Living, but you can change it the way you like. If I'm not forcing anybody to have my name on the tool if they don't want to. They can put their name. They can put motivation quote there. They can even like put the bias if they want. Whatever they comes in your mind, can put it there. If you don't like the institution order flow, you can turn that off. What it does is it actually remove the little section over there. Right, boom, like this. Pretty simple, like that. And if you don't like the watermark at all, you can remove it. So the tables become very small. Look. There we go. It's just very, very convenient, super small, not hard to see. But I like having everything. I think it's pretty good. It's not too bad. Other than that, we're catching tomorrow. Have a great day. Don't overtrade. If you actually make money, just enjoy your day, man. Come back tomorrow. Journal everything and catch tomorrow. All right. Ciao. Appreciate, man. Bye-bye.